The Prime Minister has also been speaking to engineering firms about producing extra ventilators for the NHS. One of the companies who is keen to help is Ebac in Newton Aycliffe. John Elliott is the company founder and chairman and is kindly joining us this evening. Mr. Elliott, did you hear the Prime Minister's press conference in full?
Well, part of it, yes.
Is some of the quite shocked at all by some of the measures?
No, I think we've got to overreact. It's better to overreact and be wrong than underreact and be wrong.
Now, for those who don't know, just make sure that people are aware of what do you normally do there?
We normally make washing machines, dehumidifiers and bottled water coolers.
Right, okay. But now, what are you looking at doing?
Well, we're looking at making a ventilator. We use an air pump in one of our water coolers. We think that can be used to actually ventilate people, basically. But we're looking at it completely afresh, not trying to copy the existing models, because the existing models, if they can't be made by the existing manufacturers, we can't make them either. In other words, it's a supply chain problem. So We're looking, with a clean sheet of paper, how can we solve this fairly simple problem, really? We have a pump. We need to work out now how we control it to do the job, and how we interface with the patient.
So are you basically trying on the spot? You're trying to invent a new ventilator?
Absolutely. That's right. We've got to. You see, if the people that currently make the existing one can't, we can't, in my opinion, because there'll be supply chain problems.
Right.
So we're looking at it afresh, in a novel way, innovatively, to look at it as a simple solution. Let's try and make something very simple, very basic, that works. We have a pump. That's a start. We now need to control it. We're looking at what pressures we need to achieve to inflate the lungs, etc.
Right, okay. I mean, do you even have the machinery, the correct machinery to make something like this, or are you having to adapt?
No, having to adapt. It's really about, it isn't as complicated as it sounds. We started looking at it yesterday, and it's a matter of just blowing air into someone, that's all. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Right.
We're just taking ordinary air, not oxygen, and ventilating lungs that aren't working.
But you say it sounds simple enough, but you're normally making washing machines and dehumidifiers and things like that.
That's right. No, it's not. I'm not saying it's. Well, it is. Look, I think it's easier than we think. We don't have the problem of worrying about patents or anything else. We just can look at something which is fairly simple. All it's got to do is get air into the lungs that aren't working.
Yeah, and so you've got a pump, but now you're trying to figure out how the pump becomes a ventilator. We've got
to think how we control it now. We've got to get the right pressures, and we've got to make sure it's safe. So we're now making contact with the doctor to try and find out, just to confirm everything. We've got to be very careful here to get this, but I think it's fairly simple. But it's still to be done. But I would think within a week we'll have something.
So can you tell me the process here? Like, were you contacted by somebody in the government, or did you contact them and say, we can help? How did this work?
No, we heard them saying there's a shortage of ventilators, I think, in Italy. And I thought, well, crikey, that's something fairly simple that will save lives.
And what about the staff that you've got there at Ebac in Newton Aycliffe? I mean, how have you made any shift changes? Have you made
no.
different practices? Or
we definitely changed practices. We've tried to. Some people are working from home. Everyone's washing their hands much more. We're looking at things, and we've got plans in place where things get worse. And things could get worse. But I really think we've got to almost overreact, because that's better than leaving it. We've got an enemy that's getting stronger every day. The sooner we attack it, the better. A stitch in time really does save 9.
Right, so it's better to react as soon as possible.
It's better to react and be wrong than not react and be wrong. You can see what I mean.
If you can just tell me again of timeline that you're looking at to actually, I'm finding it fascinating that you're basically just inventing a whole new ventilator. So how long do you think here?
Oh, I think we'll have something in 1 or 2 weeks. It may take us longer to get something which is better. The big problem will be the mask itself, because making a mold for the mask will take several weeks. So we've got to find other ways in getting the air into the person without using a mask. That's our objective now. And we think it's possible. It may be a bit messier than normal, but at least if it works and saves lives, it's worth doing.
John, thank you very much. John Elliott for us there on BBC Radio T's company founder and chairman at Ebac in Newton Aycliffe.